Well, welcome and thanks to everyone for joining us today. My name is Michelle Cloutier, and as the Vice President for Enrollment Management at Bryant, it is my great pleasure to serve as the host and moderator for today's panel. This is the third panel we've had for students and families, and we are grateful to everyone for your time and efforts to stay informed. On behalf of the faculty and staff at Bryant, please know that the entire Bryant community has been working hard to ready for you, and we are excited for your arrival. Before we begin our discussion, I wanted to provide an overview of this afternoon's program. We will start with a brief introduction of our four panelists. From there, each panelist will tell us a little bit about the most recent plans in their areas. And we have had lots of questions that have come into the reopening@bryant.edu mailbox and been posting on social media. So we'll be addressing some of those that are of general interest, and members of the audience can also submit questions for me to ask our panelists during the program. If we don't get to all the questions, don't worry, we will continue to add answers to the FAQ section of the Bryant.edu reopening website as information becomes available. And by next week, we will be sure to post a video of today's conversation online. And now I have the honor of introducing some of my most accomplished and distinguished colleagues. Bryant University President Ross Gittell, Provost and Chief Academic Officer Glenn Solmacy, and Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students Ingalise Amir, and Director of Athletics Bill Smith. President Ross Gittell took office as Bryant University's 9th president on July 1st of this year. And over the past month, we have been extremely fortunate to have someone with his deep experience building upon Bryant's upward trajectory while leading Bryant to our safe reopening. Previously, President Gittell served for nearly a decade as Chancellor for the Community College System of New Hampshire, and he has an extensive background in university teaching, strategic planning, and management. His teaching career spans over 20 years, and prior to his appointment as Chancellor of the Community College System of New Hampshire, Dr. Gittell was the James R. Carter Professor in the Department of Management at the Whittemore School of Business and Economics at the University of New Hampshire. Beyond academia, he is considered one of the nation's preeminent economists and economic development experts. You've probably met our Provost, Vice President for Student Affairs, and Athletic Director already, but if not, let me tell you a little bit about them. Provost Glenn Solmacy joined the Bryant University community in 2015 as the inaugural Provost, coming to us after serving as Chair and Dean at the United States Coast Guard Academy. He is an acclaimed international law and national security expert with more than 30 years of experience in academic, law, and government service settings, and he brings a distinguished record of administrative leadership and academic achievement to his position. At Bryant, the Office of the Provost oversees the College of Arts and Sciences, the College of Business, all academic policies and activities university-wide, including the Center for Teaching Excellence, and our wide array of programs to ensure student success. During his first 5 years, Provost Solmacy has helped Bryant's academic programs achieve surging national rankings. Vice President for Student Affairs, Ingalise Amir, joined the Bryant University community just over a year ago in 2019. Prior to that, she served as the Dean of Students at Colby College in Waterville, Maine, and she previously held leadership positions in student affairs and academic advising at Dartmouth College and at Harvard University. Vice President Amir has brought a broad knowledge of higher education leadership and management and an extensive record of accomplishment, collaboration with faculty, and visionary initiatives to her key position on Bryant's cabinet. Inga is a passionate champion for ensuring that students and student success are at the heart of every decision we make. And Athletic Director Bill Smith is entering his 15th year here at Bryant. Under his leadership, Bryant Athletics has achieved extraordinary academic and competitive success while developing some of the best athletic facilities in New England. Bill represents Bryant and the Northeast Conference on the national stage as the president of the Division I Football Championship Subdivision Athletics Directors Association and has established a philosophy designed to take Bulldog athletics to the next level in every facet of college athletics. He leads an administrative team of professionals who works hard to continually improve the student-athlete experience. Now, let's begin our discussion. At about 3:20 or 3:30, we'll move on to some questions. President Gittell, in less than 3 weeks, we expect to have all students back on campus and classes underway. What are the principles guiding your strategy as we get closer to reopening?
Thank you, Michelle, and thanks to all of you for joining us today. What we know is that the pandemic is serious and it is very concerning, and that we also know that it's very dynamic, it's changing, and that we have to be prepared to adapt to the changing situation. Bryant's plans are comprehensive. This includes a very aggressive testing plan, which we'll go into some details with you today during this hour. Our plan on testing is more aggressive than most schools, and that's going to be very important as we move forward. Bryant also has in place a very strong leadership team, some of whom are represented here today, and the team has been working diligently over the last few months, preparing for the fall and tracking the path of the pandemic. My first and foremost consideration is the health and welfare of students and the full Bryant campus community. The most important thing we could do this semester is protect the health and safety of our students, faculty, and staff. And we want to do in that context is to have a successful, productive, meaningful semester and academic work for your students, for all our students this semester. That's our focus. We've worked very hard this summer so that our plans have what we're calling a layered approach. So we can modify certain elements as needed to keep the benefits of our three strong pillars. The first one, and the one that I highlight initially, is our comprehensive weekly testing on campus of all students, faculty, and staff. This is a $3 million program that far exceeds what most other schools in the region are doing. The second pillar is our continued commitment at Bryant, a real Bryant value and pillar, to individualize contact and support with students to ensure that success. And we work closely with them in their public health and safety practices this semester, and also in their learning and professional development. And then the third pillar is to take advantage of our 400 acres, our campus with the athletic facilities, the academic facilities, and we're going to take advantage of the large, mostly rural setting that we're in so that students have an easier time practicing social distancing, and that we're able to enforce that social distancing and masking to ensure the public safety and health. Bryant is very fortunate because of our campus size and our somewhat rural location. And we also have one single secured point of entry onto the campus, which you all know, who have been to the campus. And our student demographics are favorable compared to most every other institution. 90% of our students come from states in the Northeast that have been relatively strong performers in containing the coronavirus. And we are going to be able to manage the situation more appropriately, more easily than many other institutions who have students coming from a more broad area and states that haven't controlled the coronavirus. We also have in place a very strong relationship with the Rhode Island Department of Health, and we continue to work very closely, follow their guidance. We will be reporting to them on a regular basis about our testing results or the cases that we have. And it's a strong partnership that we have. We'll continue to stay committed to public safety and health and to the personal and professional development of every student that we have at Bryant University. So thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, President Gittell. Provost Lemacy, this next question is for you. Bryant has announced that it has a hybrid model, but what is a high flex bimodal model? Can students choose to take classes either in person or all online?
Sure. Thanks, Michelle. First, welcome everybody. I can't wait to see everybody coming back here in just a couple of weeks. It's a great time for all of us here to see the campus come back to life. Reality is it hasn't been back to life since March 17th, and we're really looking forward to seeing all of you and your sons and daughters coming back to Bryant to get that great Bryant education. One of the items that I think that is critical to and a hallmark of a Bryant education is that faculty-student interaction. Many of you and your children were most attracted to Bryant because of that, and that's critical. And we're trying to maintain that as much as possible during the pandemic, and that's why we have this high flex model, which allows in-seat instruction. So in-seat instruction at the same time it's being synchronously displayed to those outside of the classroom if you're not in the classroom due to COVID and Rhode Island Department of Health constraints. We can only have up to 18 students in a classroom with the social distancing, the 6-foot separation. So you have to have the high flex is a triangular approach, if you will. You've got an in-seat instruction, you have it on Zoom, if you will, or remotely being transmitted at the same time simultaneously. And we're also taping, which so that later on for our international students and our friends and families that are overseas that are 12 hours difference or 10 hours difference, we're making sure that you can still have that great academic experience that's going on in the classroom from Bryant if you're not able to get back here. Or if you're sick and you're unable to attend class or unable to be able to, we'll have that capability. So it's really those three areas. But I will tell you, and those of you that have listened to me over the last few months, President Gittell, Dr. Amir, and myself have really made an effort to make sure that your children get the best possible education during this. And we try as best as possible to get in-person experiences. So we've added 11 new classrooms. So if you'll indulge me for a minute to just give you a sense of what we have. Of the 710 total courses, 26% or 184 courses are first year predominant, are dominated by the first years, our newest students, and they have priority for being located in rooms large enough to accommodate all. 95 to 98% of these courses will meet in person only. So 95% of first year courses will meet in person, 95 to 98%. So that's incredible efforts by our faculty to find these locations and develop classrooms. And President Gittell also invested in significant technology to enhance the experience for the students. So that's another $500,000 invested for the betterment of the education for our students now and in the future. Of the courses for the returning students, about 25% will be located in a room large enough to meet entirely in seat, no remote at all. So now we're talking about 45% of all classes will be held in seat, no change from how normal instruction will be taking place. About 55% of the class will be taught in this high flex environment where we'd have both going simultaneously, the synchronous opportunity to observe in a different location at the same time as you're in those that are in the classroom itself. And then really less than 5% then will be completely online. And some of those courses lend themselves to being online for a variety of purposes. We're making sure that the percent that are online completely, the 5% or less, are ones that are natural in that environment, are natural pedagogically to approach from a faculty member and a student learning perspective. So that's very, very important. So I'd go back to tell you, we're doing everything possible to ensure that the in-seat experience for your sons and daughters exists at Bryant this semester. I am energized, excited to make sure this works, and we're really excited about the percentages that I just relayed to you, which really we've gone to great lengths to ensure that the in-seat experience is really being provided at no other place that I know of in the United States is providing what we're providing right now to your sons and daughters. And I can't tell you, we all came here. I have 3 that are coming here because of this faculty and student interaction, that sort of affection, that family atmosphere, that attention, personalized attention that a Bryant faculty member gives to our children can only be accomplished if you're on campus. So I'm encouraging, unless you're completely unable to attend, you should try to ensure that we have that in-person experience. We're providing it for you, and I think it's important to have that for your sons and daughters' education. Hope that answers the question, Michelle.
Thank you, Provost Lemacy. Vice President Amir, this next question is for you. The close-knit community is a big part of why Bryant has always had a residential campus, with nearly 90% of its students choosing to live on campus all 4 years. How are you planning to adjust due to this pandemic?
Thank you, Michelle. First, I'd just like to welcome everyone that's on the call. It's wonderful to see you virtually, and I can't wait to be surrounded by students again. It has been pretty quiet here, and as the provost said, we are just counting the days and are so excited. So happy to be having it be a reality now as we get closer to the date. So I just wanted to talk about the student experience in a layered approach. First of all, my life was changed by my residential college experience, and I've been committed since then to providing an important and impactful residential experience. And COVID is not going to stop us from doing that. So we have provided different layers of safety to make sure that your students have a wonderful experience. So first, let me start with the residence hall. We de-tripled, we de-densified in certain areas, and we also updated the cleaning schedules so that there is much more regular cleaning, much more efficient cleaning, and frankly, more thorough cleaning around the virus than we've ever had before, than we've ever needed to have before. Each residence hall continues to have a student resident assistant and a staff director in the area. So those students, the RAs will help all of your students to adapt, adjust, and also help them with just basic questions about what's going on campus. And then for first year students, the most important job the RAs do is help your students get acclimated to campus, meet people, get involved in organizations. That's the second layered approach. We are still continuing student engagement. We have over 100 student organizations. We have hundreds of student leaders on this campus, and I have already received so many excellent proposals from students of fun things to do in the COVID era. So I just want to assure everyone that that part of student engagement is and will continue to be a very important part. And then in terms of services, we will be full out on services for health services, counseling, religious and spiritual life, career counseling, leadership, diversity and inclusion with our CDI center. And we will always be caring and nurturing to produce the whole student here and to produce a student that we can all be proud of at graduation. So I just wanted to assure everyone that we are, while we're taking very serious precautions around COVID, we're also still interested in making strong women and men who graduate from Bryant with empathy and direction and responsibility. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Vice President Amir. Bill Smith, this one's for you. Last week, the NEC Council of Presidents voted to postpone all fall sports athletic competition and championships. Will student athletes still be able to practice and train? And what do we know about rescheduling for the fall season for the spring?
Thank you, Michelle, and good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be on this call, and I just want to echo what Provost Silnesi said earlier on regarding the campus coming to life. We're so excited to have everybody back here and see our fields being utilized and the courts and the gyms and everything else, and have our Bulldog student athletes back on campus. So anxiously look forward to that day. Michelle, we're getting a lot of questions, of course, from the parents and the student athletes regarding the Northeast Conference Council of Presidents decision to postpone the fall sports season for its entirety. And of course, they made a decision as well to reevaluate leading up to October 1st. So at no later date than October 1st, will they take a look back in and see what's happening on the national landscape and make a decision on whether or not are the fall championships still on with the NCAA. What does the national landscape look like from a COVID standpoint? Is it getting safer to play? And at that point in time, they'll make the decision on whether or not to restart up fall sports or not start up fall sports. At this point in time, it looks highly likely that we'd be going down the pathway of the fall sports season being completely canceled, and hopefully looking into the spring for the opportunity to be able to play fall sports. But no decision has been made at this point in time. The full expectation is that we will have our fall sports student athletes back here on campus, and they will be actively engaged in practicing this entire time. We've been very fortunate with our facilities that we have from a strength and conditioning standpoint, as well as the Contingency indoor and the numerous number of fields that we have to be able to accommodate our student athletes in a safe manner, being able to practice while still being able to maintain social distancing and other requirements to make sure their return to sport is safe. Things got a little complicated yesterday with the NCAA Board of Governors making the decision to almost kick the can as far as a decision regarding fall championships. At this point in time, the NCAA is allowing each division to make its own determination on whether or not they will host fall championships. Division II and Division III acted swiftly, and they've made the decision that fall sports championships will be canceled. Division I has up to August 21st to make their final decision regarding that. In addition, they placed a few restrictions on practices and as well as other activities for NCAA sports. So we're in a great position. One of the restrictions that they did place deals with the contact sports, and you'd be surprised which sports fall into contact. It's not just football. Those sports also include volleyball, field hockey, those type of sports. So with that said, the restrictions that were placed on the sports really center around testing. And again, I'm so grateful to President Gittell, as well as our other vice presidents and Provost Solnesi for the wonderful work that they did putting together an incredible testing policy for all faculty, students, and staff. So we will be able to practice fully. We have a great schedule set up, and if you'll indulge me for 1 second, I might move into that just quickly so that I can show people that we have a solid plan to safely return our student athletes here back to campus and being able to play the sports that they love so much. The first Fall Sports 2020 activity plan, of course, deals with our fall sports. And we have similar plans put together for winter and spring. It begins with phase 1, which of course is a safe return to campus. And that includes making sure that our student athletes are tested and then doing a quarantine period until the results come back negative. During that time period, we'll be making sure that they complete their compliance forms and training room forms, as well as having a pre-participation exam. That will last probably anywhere from 1 to 2 days, maybe 3 days. But regardless of the timing of when they're cleared through there, we will not begin any moving to phase 2 until the first day of classes. Phase 2 will take very slowly. It will include strength and conditioning and virtual team meetings. Our student athletes will be allowed a maximum of 1 hour per day of sports-specific activity and or weight training and conditioning activity with coaches. So we'll be using this primarily for workouts with Coach Buckley in our beautiful strength and conditioning center, making sure that social distancing policies are being followed, as well as masking, and we'll be working in small groups or maximum group size of up to 24. We will not move to phase 3 until those 2 weeks are completed and everything is determined to be safe. Phase 3 is small group activities, individual skill instruction. There we will allow a maximum of 2 hours per day of both sports-specific activity and also weight training and conditioning. We will stay in phase 3 and not move to phase 4 until everything on campus looks safe and we are in a great place to make sure that we can proceed on to mid-sized group activities, which would be team type activities. There with the fall sports, we'd be looking at being able to go up to their regular 20-hour per week. This would prepare us in case the presidents do have that look back in and make a decision that we are able to play on October 1st. Again, highly unlikely, but we have to be prepared to do so in case that were to occur. That's quickly the fall sports. The winter sports follows a very similar plan. Really the only change there, I would say, is that we may take a little longer moving from phase 2 into phase 3, just because we want to make sure our focus will be on our fall sports and then being able to be off and running safely. Once we get into phase 3 and 4 for both for our winter sports and our spring sports, they will be following regular NCAA CARA regulations, and which includes team limits for both calendar year as well as hours during the week. So that's a real quick summary. I think we've got a great game plan put in place to be able to get our student athletes back here playing the sports they love and doing it safely. So I'll turn it back to you, Michelle, and if you have any other questions for me later on, just fire away.
Thank you, Bill. So now we have about an hour and a half for Q&A. So let me see if I come up with this first question here. The first question is for you, President Gittell. Do you have contingency plans to close the campus?
Yes, we do have contingency plans, but I just want to follow up on Bill Smith's discussion. Bill was reporting back on his return to normalcy, return to campus work. One of our 7 committees that worked all summer long on detailed plans for different aspects of Bryant's University's fall reopening. And you can see the level of detail, how it's a phased approach depending upon the conditions of the coronavirus, and it takes into account various factors. And we have detailed plans not only for athletics, and Bill's plans also include recreation for the full student population, but also for the area of student life, which Inga headed, and for academics, which Glenn headed. And these plans were comprehensive. They were worked on all summer. They're detailed. They're phased in, again, based upon where we are with regards to the pandemic. We decided to have Bill go into details today because the NCAA, just as Bill indicated, just came out with their ruling. So we want to make sure that particularly our student athletes and their families are up to date on that. And this is the first time that Bill has joined us at one of these convenings. So thank you, Bill, for that detail. But we have similar type of detail in all major areas that we could provide to you. And we're having a summary of that that we will provide to the full campus community and update on an ongoing basis. And that's the sort of the baseline, the information that we will use as far as contingency efforts on our campus. The key aspect, we'll have daily new data on the coronavirus and the test through our testing. Our testing will be full population testing every 7 days, and the test returns will come back within 24 hours. So based on our testing results, we could act accordingly. And we have a lot of flexibility because of the way we've approached the situation with regards to a layered approach, and the way Glenn Solmacy, our provost, described the delivery of the academic program is that we could very easily switch to de-densify our campus if the coronavirus and our positive cases increased, or if the Department of Health for the state of Rhode Island indicated that they wanted us to de-densify. We could move in that direction in a rapid basis, and we have contingency plans around that. The main thing to know is that the leadership team is meeting on a daily basis. We'll have the population testing going on a continuous basis, and we'll have that information about the virus available to act on in a timely fashion, and working very closely with the Rhode Island Department of Health. And our key concern is the health and safety of our students, your sons and daughters, and on our faculty and staff. And a key aspect of our contingency work is going to be communication internally to our students, to our faculty and staff, and to the parents of students to have them informed about the situation and how we're responding in a timely and an informed manner. So I hope that answers your question, Michelle.
Thank you, President Gittell. Vice President Amir, this one's for you. What should parents expect when moving their students into the residence halls in a couple weeks?
Thank you, Michelle. So first, on a personal note, I just want to say I know how important move-in is every year. Even though my son Max did not want me to move him in on his senior year, I certainly did. And so I know what a great moment it is. I just first want to say that this continues to be a celebration of an important accomplishment, either as a first-year student starting college, as a senior who will be having their last wonderful year, or as a student who's coming for their sophomore or junior year. So we are continuing the celebratory nature, and I hope to see lots of people doing FaceTime with grandparents as they're walking around, and I also hope to see a lot of selfies getting posted all over. So to some of the details, each of you will be receiving a time period. Those have already gone out. We've received many calls from families if they can't make it, and we are accommodating everyone as usual because life changes, especially during COVID. And so each of you will be able to bring 2 people to help move. You'll have a 3-hour period to go in the residence hall, help your son or daughter unpack, get settled. A couple of things that are different, if I could, I would suggest that instead of maybe a big Target or Stop and Shop run, you might do a picnic on campus with your student instead of maybe a restaurant visit. If you need to go to the store, that's of course possible. But I want people to know that we still have the My Bryant shuttle running for the semester, and students can take the shuttle to stores, wear appropriate masks, and do that kind of shopping. So that's still an option. Also, a lot of you have asked about visiting. Of course, we prefer not to have as much visiting as we've had in the past because we're trying to keep the campus safe. But of course, you can pick up your student wearing a mask and take them out for a lunch or a dinner during their time here. So move-in is still an integral part of the Bryant experience. Everyone will be tested when they first come onto campus. We're making it as easy as possible. You'll be in your car. It takes a good 10 seconds to do the PCR tests that we have invested in, and then you'll receive your test results in an email the following day. So that's really the only big change. Otherwise, we're still excited. The RAs will still be there to help unload. President Gittell has provided for extra support from a moving company also that will help unload, so we can help you be more efficient and have more time with your son or daughter. So we're very much looking forward to the move-in experience.
Thank you, Dr. Amir. Provost Solmacy, this is for you. Students are hearing that they will have some classes on Saturdays. How can a student get the most current version of their class meeting times?
Sure. Thanks, Michelle. It's been a recurring one, and I'll clarify that on Banner, all of your students as of now, all of your children can go on right now, and on Banner they can see their updated schedule. All schedules been updated right now with the courses and the dates and times. One item that comes up frequently is whether is this an in-seat class, is it an online class, or is it one of those high flex, what we'll designate it. I'm having and encouraging and asking all faculty to reach out to the students to let them know what the expectation is over the next couple of weeks. As we know, it's only 3 weeks till classes start, so as we have it all loaded in now, we've spent an enormous amount of time, as you know, just looking at the calendar from back in the spring, and we took it, and as you know, we're starting on August 25th and be done by November 24th. Everything. All of our classes, all of our finals, and the students will be done. And again, that goes to what President Gittell's #1 overriding principle for all of us, for the Director of Athletics, for the Vice President for Enrollment Management, for the Director of Student Affairs, Vice President Amir, all of us is about safety. So you can imagine this is ensuring as best as possible within the information we have about the virus is to have the classrooms and all of the exams done by November 24th. And so when they go home for Thanksgiving, they're with you, and they're arguably back with you and at home, and it's a great place to be during those holiday periods anyway. So we're very excited. In order to do that, we have classes, and some of the students have called me, as you can imagine, and many of your sons and daughters probably have asked you, said, hey, what's this about Saturdays? We have to have 5 Saturday classes in order to accomplish this, to have a compressed schedule, but we still have to meet credit hours. We're still making sure no one is being gypped of any sort of a full educational opportunity that's provided by Bryant. So in order to do that and meet our credit hour requirements, those mandated by our accrediting agencies, we had to make sure that 5 Saturdays classes would take place. And I'll give those to you, and they're listed on our webpage if you are concerned at all to see that in hard copy, and I'm happy to mail it out or have Vice President Amir's staff mail it out to the parents' portal. Saturday the 12th of September, Saturday the 26th of September, Saturday the 3rd of October, Saturday the 17th of October, and Saturday the 24th of October. And that is the intention for the Saturdays that we will be having those classes. Some students have thought it was every Saturday. It's not that way at all. And you'll have the opportunity with the professor to ensure whether it's a synchronous class or an asynchronous class, meaning it can be an assignment given as long as it's meeting certain criteria approved by a department chair. So we're not sure how those Saturdays, each class will be different as to how it's run, like any class. How every class is run and coordinated and conducted by a faculty member is up to that faculty member within some constraints. But I think they're really looking forward to providing this education. The faculty's energized to do this. They're excited about the time frame. And quite frankly, I've never seen our faculty in my 5 years, or arguably in my 24 years of higher ed, ever seen a faculty more engaged, more excited, and more wanting to rise to the occasion. When I've had several faculty talk about the scheduling, the classrooms, the high flex, literally I've had the pleasure of reporting to President Gittell, they call it our finest hour. And I do believe that. And we're looking forward to providing that incredible Bryant experience to each and every one of your children. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Provost Lemacy. This question is for President Gittell. What is the university's policy on allowing students to choose online classes even if they have no medical condition or travel restriction that keeps them from living on campus?
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. That question is coming up a lot, and understandably so. It's particularly important, however, for Bryant's first-year freshmen and transfer students, and this includes commuter students, to have that personal connections on campus. That's part of their personal professional development, is that relationship building, the mentorship they get from faculty, the relationships that last for a lifetime with faculty and fellow students. Studies continuously show that student learning is much greater when they establish contacts and discover mentors among the faculty and others. We are, as you could hear today, encouraging the residential experience and have invested heavily through our testing and social distancing procedures and practices that we will have in place to make as much as possible that campus experience available to our students in part of their education and professional development. So we are encouraging students and expect commuters to travel to campus for their classes, for that relationship building, for that contact within their classroom. Remote access is offered as an accommodation to give students who are ill or required to quarantine the ability to do such. And we also have students, including our international students, who have travel restrictions, so they won't be able to come to campus. And of course, we're accommodating that. And the way we're delivering our instruction, as the provost indicated, allows for that remote availability, which is critical to serving that population and to our flexibility, depending upon the path of the pandemic. With that being said, with regards to encouraging students as much as possible to come to our campus and experience our campus life, if a student has a situation that they feel merits online learning only for the fall, they can petition the university for an exception. I've asked the provost to lead these requests, and he is working with our top learning expert on campus to make sure that the requests are evaluated based upon the individual student's situation. So it's, again, that personalized contact, thinking about the individualized student, and try to accommodate the interests of the students and their families as much as possible. Because we are providing the lessons in class and online and have incurred significant expenses to do that, and because of the quality of our online offering in the context of the classroom setting, we will not be in a position to offer reduced tuition because it's our commitment to retain that high quality, Michelle. So, we have gotten some requests, and those are being considered, but we really feel strongly about the integrity of our on-campus experience here at Bryant.
Thank you, President Gittell. Let's switch gears for a minute. We have a question for Vice President Amir. Can parents or families visit campus to pick up a student and to go out to dinner? And can students leave to go shopping or out to eat with their friends?
Great, thanks, Michelle. So the theme of this answer is care packages. So I think this is the year of cool and exciting care packages. So I first just want to encourage families and friends to creatively think about sending love via the Postal Service. We've set up a second post service, and we have Amazon lockers for the first time ever at Bryant. I'm very excited about that. And so I just want to say there are lots of ways to send love, and I want to encourage everyone to do that. However, you can pick up your student as long as you wear a mask and do the health checker, which is very easy to download on the Bryant app. You show it at entry control. You can come up and pick up your student and take them out. We know that you'll all wear masks during that whole period as to protect the student when they return to campus. I also want to say I'm very excited again to say we just got delivered our first inflatable movie theater outside. So we'll be doing a lot of fun movies outside, and we are planning a lot of fun activities for outside. We're not going to just be walking around being sad about COVID on this campus. We're going to be doing a lot of wonderful, fun things, and as we always partner with Bill and his team to do a lot of wonderful recreational activities for students who are not part of athletics. So I just want to assure you that we would really appreciate a lot of care packages this year, but however, you can visit your student as long as you follow the important safety and health procedures that we've put into place to keep everyone healthy and safe on our campus. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Vice President Amir. This next question is for our Director of Athletics. Bill, will students still be able to use the Strength and Fitness Center and the gym this fall?
Absolutely, Michelle. One of the most important things that we want to do this semester, and as Vice President Amir just mentioned, is we want to make sure all of our students here at Bryant had the opportunity to be able to exercise and gain the benefits from physical fitness. So we will have our fitness center and strength and conditioning center will be open throughout the fall. We will have, of course, enhanced cleaning protocols for both areas. We will be putting in social distancing measures for all the equipment to make sure that they stay safe and clean, as well as putting limits on maximum number of people or maximum occupancy limits on all of those facilities. So the answer is a definite yes. And as President Gittell also referred to earlier, is our intramural and club sport programs. We will be going full speed ahead with those as well, and making sure that that they follow the same phased-in approach that we have that I showed to everybody with our varsity sport programs. We will be following those as well for intramural and club sports, and making sure that everybody gets the benefits of physical exercise.
Thank you, Bill. So this question is for both you, Provost Selmisi, and you, Vice President Amir. Students are asking what will replace some Bryant academic and university institutional traditions such as convocation and homecoming. Glenn and Inga, do you want to take a stab at answering that?
Sure, I'll take a stab first. As most of you know, convocation is a time-honored tradition here at Bryant, the kickoff of the academic year. And I love it. It's one of my favorite days of the year, but obviously we're not going to do that this year because of the social distancing requirements. But we're going to make sure we have some great activities, and we're in the process now of working, as you know very well, one of the great hallmarks of Bryant, beyond that faculty-student interaction, is the student affairs and academic affairs partnership. So right now we have Inga and myself, as well as our partners and our staffs, the deans and the assistant vice presidents, are all working together, put together a tremendous plan for activities for students to enjoy that. Now, our convocation is normally to welcome in the freshman class, to welcome in the first years, the class of 2024. And instead, we're going to have something a little bit more fun, upbeat, outside, perhaps a concert. The president and I will, and Dr. Amir will introduce ourselves to the campus and what we normally do, but in just a different way this year. Be much more a welcome for the class of 24 and not have some of the pageantry that we've had in the past for convocation. But as you know, there's so many opportunities on this beautiful 435-acre campus for fun activities. We're going to do our best, and there's a lot of people working on that right now to make sure that we have great fun activities to fill the time when they're not, what I want them to be doing is in the library and studying. But I guess there's other things they want to be able to do. So on that, I'll turn it over to Inga.
I want them in the library and studying too. Thank you, Glenn. You know, I wore Bulldog colors today because I wanted to say that even though we can't do all of the old traditions that we have done in the exact same way, doesn't mean that we're not meeting as a leadership team all the time to talk about new and exciting ways to engage students. And the Bulldog spirit that I found in my first year here last year is still very strong and very determined. So we are looking at alternative programming, some of it viral, some of it in smaller groups, and some of it in larger groups with proper social distancing and masks. So we will be looking at all of these important events, and in student affairs, we encourage students to also be part of that process as we look at what alternative ways we can bring the community together and make the most of our time here together before November. So it will be Bulldog strong as always. It'll be black and gold, and it will be as fun and as meaningful as it has been in the past. Those are the guidelines that the president has given us as we face all of these new challenges. So the answer is yes. It will be an exciting yet a little bit different campus to be part of.
Thank you both. This next question is for you, Bill. When do you expect the NEC presidents to reconvene in October? Or what do you expect when they reconvene?
What do I expect when they reconvene? Well, I'm lucky I got President Gittell on the phone call here. So he probably knows better than I. I'm also a member of the NCAA football championship committee, and we met yesterday to review possible outcomes, or more than that, likely outcomes, given the Board of Governors' decision to leave the decision for fall championships up to each individual division. So it was very likely that we will be in a position where the fall championships will be canceled due to a caveat that the Board of Governors put into their decision, which was if in any sport, more than 50% of the schools that sponsor that sport make the decision not to compete in the fall, then that will by itself cancel the fall championship season. I know with football, as we went around the table, it appeared likely that that would be the case. We weren't at those numbers yet, but it looked as if it would be coming soon. So I'm not sure if action will probably be taken prior to the NEC President's meeting on October 1st. As I mentioned earlier, August 21st is the deadline for Division I to make the decision on their championships. And if I had a crystal ball, I would say that in all likelihood that the fall championship season will be canceled, so that when the NEC presidents do meet, I think the focus of their discussions will be on spring sports, on fall sports, and how we're able to accommodate them moving to the spring. And I think that will be the focus of their discussion, as opposed to whether or not fall sports should be canceled, because I think that decision will have already been made.
Thank you, Bill. Inga, this next question is for you. There's been a couple of questions regarding a little bit more detail on the testing process.
Sure.
Everyone on campus, every other day, weekly,
Yeah.
and then as a follow-up to that, do we have tracing in place? And also, what happens if a student is test positive for COVID, and can they go home if they're close enough? I think some parents are looking for a little bit more detail.
Sure. I'm
there.
happy to go in depth on the testing process we have and the follow-up, which I just want to say is really strong, and I'm really proud of everybody on this call and all of the staff, especially in health services and residential life and athletics and academic affairs, who have stepped up to make this process possible. So everyone will receive a test when they arrive for their move-in date, and you'll get a email about your test. And then every student, staff, and faculty member will be tested weekly after that. The testing center, thank you, Bill, very much, is in the gym. They've given us a space for the entire time. It's a beautiful, well-lit space, and we're very excited about that. As you all know, the majority of students, faculty, and staff will receive a negative result, and I'm very confident in that. There will be a few people that receive a positive. As soon as you receive a positive as a student, you have an immediate follow-up with health services. You'll be asked to go into our Cumberland Residence Hall and be in quarantine and asked to take another test 4 days after. One of the great things about quarantine, frankly, is you can continue with your classes, and food will be delivered to you, not only the 3 meals a day, but we've set up water delivery and Gatorade and other things, granola bars and lots of other things. We've also put a refrigerator and a microwave in each room for quarantine, and of course a thermometer. After your 4 days, if your second test is negative, you'll be able to go back to your room. If it's positive, or if your first test is positive and you would prefer to go home and wait, if you live close by campus, you're allowed to do that too. So I just wanted you to know that there's flexibility and negotiation and interaction with each student, which we've always done on all the other health services issues we face. We regularly see 160 students in health services a week around a variety of issues that all of us face around our health and wellness. After the results will happen, contact tracing goes right into effect. We have a fabulous director of contact tracing and a team that she is putting together. You'll be asked, your student will be asked about their last 48 hours. I want to be clear about what constitutes an interaction. An interaction is constituted by something that happens beyond 20 minutes if you are not wearing a mask and if you were not social distancing. So there are many precautions that your son or daughter can take to stay safe through the entire time that we're on campus, and that's to wear a mask and to practice social distancing. Then those students and or faculty and staff will be contacted and asked to quarantine until we get the second test result. If a student is showing symptoms, not feeling well, we have a wellness clinic this year and a not feeling well clinic. The Not Feeling Well clinic is going to be staffed by 2 full-time RNs each day, and they will be in proper PPE, so they will remain safe and the other students will remain safe in the exam rooms. If a student is not feeling well, we'll make a determination if they should go home for a while or if they should go into quarantine. To be honest, most of those not feeling well are going to be traditional college flu symptoms, sinus infections, and everything else that we always see. And if they get a positive test, then again, we'll sit with them, offer to go home. Parent can pick them up, or they can drive themselves. They cannot get out on any public transportation. And our health services staff will be following up with them. If they would like to go into quarantine, we have those options here too, with food delivery and class continuing, and also a check-in with the health services staff on a daily basis. And then, of course, like any other year, if someone needed to be hospitalized for anything, we would, of course, do that too and notify parents right away, as we always do. So a lot of what is happening is taking our regular good policies and procedures on health services and putting them towards our COVID response. Does that answer that, Michelle?
I think so. Thank you. There seems to be another question that's hot out on here is, where do students get their books? I believe, if Provost Macy, if I am remember correctly, they would reach out to the bookstore based on their class professor and such. You're on mute. Sorry.
Correct. The same way you always do. There's no difference in that. Through your bookstore, or when you get your, should be getting contacted by your faculty member if there's something additional, or you should be getting that information shortly. No difference in normal.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Also, Michelle, can I just add that the bookstore is open? I just want people to know.
Yes. Well, in the interest of time, I want to thank you all for joining us this afternoon. I hope you found this conversation helpful. Even though things will look a little different this fall, we are excited to welcome you and your students on campus in just a few short weeks. Please be assured that Bryant's tradition of exceptional student service is something that all of us are dedicated to continuing, especially with all of the new challenges students will be facing this fall. Although we weren't able to get to many of your questions, there are still a few that we were not able to answer. You can look to see us adding these to our frequently asked questions section of the website and on the days ahead. The bryant.edu/reopening website also has specific contact information for student athletes and international students. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule today to join us. Please rest assured that we are very much looking forward to having all of our students back. They are really what makes Bryant the truly spectacular place that it is. Stay well and stay healthy, and we'll see you in a few weeks. Thank you.